Hello, dear friends. Thank you for joining me today. Happy New Year for those who are celebrating New Year. But if you're watching this video and any other time, please, you're welcome to use this technique regardless, whether it's New Year, New Month, or any other day. It's more importantly that you have a project that has a beginning and end, or some time of transition. So let's talk a little bit about New Year's Day on January. That will be the main theme of our presentation today, as well the calendar and January. And then we will use our drawing. But before going into our drawing, I would like to share a short presentation related to this event, New Year's Day. New Year's Day tradition. And our drawing is based on the idea of Janus, passing the gate between the past and the future. So a little bit about NeuroGraphica, those who are not familiar. Just a reminder, it's a simple and effective method of working with the subconscious mind through simple abstract drawing. The method of NeuroGraphica is based on the principle of neural plasticity, which is the brain's ability to change itself in response to learning and new needs. The method was invented in 2014 by Pavel Piskarev, Doctor of Psychology, personal business coach, speaker, architect, artist. NeuroGraphica is becoming very popular now because it's easy to learn, requires no previous experience, and everyone who practices can experience good results. And of course, results depend very much how much you practice it. As you can see below, some examples of the various kinds of drawings. Some of them are related to free techniques. Some of them are courses, official courses, credit courses from the Institute of NeuroGraphica and Psychology of Creativity. So a little bit about me, those who don't know me. I am Alina Smolyansky. I'm an instructor, an artist. So I have been practicing art. I was been a full-time artist for over 13 years and teaching art for over 10. In the past, I was also an engineer, studied architecture, construction financing. I also have a Bachelor of Arts in Professional Communication, involved in writing, editing, publishing, and graphic design. And some of my other pursuits, past and present, include yoga, meditation, religious studies, as well as many authentic spiritual traditions. As you can see in my drawings that I'm in NeuroGraphica, and as well as my icon painting and extempore painting. I use NeuroGraphica for results and as an instructor, but create art, I use extempore painting, which is an ancient method. So let's talk about New Year now. Originally, the Roman calendar, and we're talking about the Roman calendar because all our calendars are based on that specific calendar, as explained in this presentation. Like many other ancient calendars, the Roman ancient calendar was based on the moon cycles and began around the vernal equinox, at the time when agriculture work began and also military activities. At that time, the year consisted of 10 months, and the 2 winter months didn't have even official names, and only later became known as Januaries and Februaries. Julius Caesar, one of the most prominent emperors at that time, was advised by a famous astronomer to calculate a new calendar based on the solar year, similar to the Egyptian calendar, and thus make it synchronous with the seasons. As a result, the year was calculated, as we know it today, at 365 days and a quarter, around a quarter. So to keep it in sync with the year, with astronomical season, one day had to be added to February every 4 years. So in addition, Julius Caesar announced Janus, the first day of the year. It was known as Januarius, and named after the Janus, the Roman god of beginnings, whose face allowed him to look, actually two faces, double-faced. One face looked back and one forward, and he was the god of transition and new beginnings. Romans celebrated New Year not only by a lot of celebration, but also sacrifices to this god and exchanging gifts with one another, decorating their homes with laurel branches and of course partying and eating. So it's interesting how other months got their names. So if we know that if the month of January was named after Janus, but what the problem was that the original calendar had 10 months because the winter months were not active. So the year began in March, so that the months, as we can see it later, were numbered. Only a few months had their names. For example, the first month, March, was named after Mars, the god of war, which is time when the military campaign started. April is believed to be named after the verb at that time. Appear, the beginning, and 2 months, May and June, were named after goddess Maya, after the goddess of growth, plants, and eventually springtime. Juno was the main goddess and married to Jupiter, the main god of that Roman ancient mythology. Juno was the goddess of marriage, partnership, and everything related to married life. But other months were just numbered. That's very simple. And in Latin, their names were the 5th Quintilis, 6th Sextilis, 7th September, 8th October, 9th November, and 10th December. After Caesar's death, the month Quintilis was renamed July in honor of Julius Caesar, and later Sextilis was renamed August in honor of Roman Emperor Augustus. Augustus was the first Roman emperor. So of the Republic, when Roman became an empire. Other Roman emperors tried to rename the remaining months after themselves, but that didn't work, and the original names of September, October, November, December remained, even if their names didn't agree exactly with their numerical position in the calendar. So what happened with the calendar later? So that calendar was named Julian calendar. New Year's Day on January the 1st wasn't celebrated in the Middle Ages. Instead, this period was period between the fall of the Roman Empire around 5th century and the Renaissance during that 14th century. The Church preferred celebrating events based on the church calendar, and specifically the Nativity of Jesus or the Feast of Annunciation, which is around spring equinox. And only at the end of the 16th century, in 1582, Pope Gregory XIII re-established January as New Year's Day and introduced a new calendar. The problem was that adding one day every 4 years was a little bit too much, and as a result, almost 13 days were added after the introduction of the Julian calendar. So the church recognized and added a leap year was a little bit too much. New astronomers got to work, and Pope Gregory XIII introduced the Gregorian calendar that corrected that error by removing extra days. Only in 1582, Pope Gregory XIII re-established January 1st and New Year's Day and established a new calendar. The church recognized that adding a leap day every 4 years was a little bit too much. As a result, that was 13 days added since the introduction of the Julian calendar. Pope Gregory XIII introduced the Gregorian calendar that corrected that error by removing extra days. This calendar, which we still use today, has a more precise formula for calculation a leap year. Since then, people around the world have gathered on January 1st to celebrate the precise arrival of the new year. Now I would like to return to the name of Janus, the god of transition, as where this year is coming to an end and the new year comes with the month of January. I would like to use this idea and base this drawing tutorial on the name and the idea of transition, the passage from the past into the future. It seems like the ancient Romans had a god or goddess for everything. They had the god of the sea, of goddess of Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, the Apollo, the god of sun, and so many more. Janus is a less known god, but probably one of the most important. He was the god of doors, gates, and transitions. Janus represents the middle ground between dualities, that is, life, death, beginning, end, youth, adulthood, and so many more. As the Roman god of beginning and transitions, January became the first month of a new year. He is portrayed with two faces, one that faces the past and one facing the future. He also holds a key in his right hand, which symbolized his protection of doors, gates, thresholds, and other separations of openings between boundaries. So today, I would like to base our drawing on this idea. Let's begin our drawing. Hello, I welcome everyone into our drawing room, and I would like to dedicate this class, this drawing portion of the class, to specific God and use our class today based on that, the notion of Janus, the god, the Roman ancient god or deity of transition, the past and the future, the doors. He's like the doorkeeper to something that gives you the future. And that's why, as I explained, the first months of the year were named January in honor of this god. So how I would like to proceed is to separate. So I've prepared my drawing pencils. So by the way, if anybody who is the first time attending a class about NeuroGraphic Art or Neuro Art, please refer to my other free classes where I explain about the NeuroGraphic line and the principle of rounding. I will not going to explain this today. We will start drawing right away. And if you're completely new to this method, to this technique, please read the explanation. I will give you a link to specific video at the bottom in the description to this video. It's a previous video, and that between minutes 12 and 26, I believe. When I explain about 12 minutes, I explain about the NeuroGraphic line and the principle of routing. Enough to complete this exercise. But today, we will just draw and use this knowledge. So I suggest in the beginning I prepared the eraser just in case, but normally we're not using it. Just I would like to use a pencil because the first, dividing the page into two parts. So the first, of course, on the left, will be about the past, and the right, the future. As typical, the time flows in our understanding and our conventional linear representation from the past to the future. But it's only our convention and understanding. And with this, I would like just to remind and just to use the idea about this God that has two faces. It's roughly a circle, and I will draw two faces. So it's one neck. starts with the head, Roman profile, nose, and of course is considering this man, whether you can do an eye, eyebrow, and hair. Nice wavy, and you can even use it as a neurographic line, like drawing the hair. And of course, since this, I assume this part that's facing the bust could be lights, a long, more like older man, older image. A few neurographic lines, and the other that's looking forward. This is imaginary divide between the two. And tomorrow we will have this single moment we will pass from supposedly one year to another. Nose and lips again. And a little bit shorter beard. That's the idea. So that's why I said a pencil mark, so approximately like this. If you're not good at drawing faces, I'm not good. Okay. And the lines. And of course the hair, it could be mixed together, and the lines. You can draw the lines up, but it's not necessary. So that's the basic drawing. So my next idea, now I will use the marker from now on. You know, in NeuroGraphica we do not use eraser. It's if NeuroGraphica is about life, so we cannot delete or erase anything from our life. We can only change, and that's why we're using a marker and not an eraser. Marker and we'll just adding lines if we want to change something. So now let's think about it. It's in the previous year, supposedly like 2021 and this 2022. Is there anything, think about whether, is there anything you would like to leave behind in that year? Not to let it go through the threshold. Let the Janus, or Janus is it in Latin, to watch this face and not to let it pass through this imaginary divide. So is there any thing? There's one, maybe 1, 2, 3. Like right now, when I'm thinking, and that's the mood of my today or yesterday, there's only one big, and that's the biggest of all, probably, that I can think of today, is regrets about something that I couldn't accomplish last year while I had this tremendous opportunity and I didn't use it. So, and I understand that happened, maybe to the better, but the last few days, as the year is passing, I felt tremendous regret about that lost opportunity. What lost, it appears to me right now at the position, because I can't see anything beyond my, like, anywhere else, because I'm looking back, and right now on this point, it seems to me as if I lost this opportunity. So, and I will indicate it. It's only one thing. And maybe part of it also, it was also connected to fear of change. Fear of change, I mean, on a very high level, it wasn't like the two connected. So, and in this, there are many ways how to. So I remember, I do not want to let them go past beyond this one. And let's, before we think about the future, let's deal with these two for now. So how can we deal with them first? You see, it's interesting that even if I feel like pain could be quite significant compared to anything else, but it's not bad, it's not sharp, it's not like figures. So probably what I would like to do first is to accept it. I want to accept this situation, and that's why I will do what many of you know is a catharsis, that outburst. So I draw an emotional outburst, doodle. So we call it catharsis, those who know the algorithm for removing inner constraints. And I'll try to incorporate it and leave it behind. So I don't want to leave it as anything unresolved. I want to first to accept it and leave it behind. Because if it's not accepted, I can't move forward, because I will be constantly thinking about it. So well, let's do it. Those who do not know, just follow me. And I will do something like this. And that there are two connected. So I will just, if I do catharsis, this emotional outburst, I will do it for both of them because they're connected together. I couldn't regret what I'm experiencing now, but fear of change, what didn't allow me to overcome that, something I regret about. And like right now, so what I make this movement of the hand, and that presents is like avatar of my feeling, my emotion in relation to that issue. Okay, so I prepare my hand, I gather my feelings, and I will do. Okay, it's good. So you cannot see it right now, but you will see it as soon as I start drawing it with the line. The pen didn't write, and it left just grooves in the paper, like indents in the paper, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But as you can see, the lines, I will draw the lines. So within those two, and has nicely, it's contained within these two shapes. So first, I will draw the lines from one side to the other of that shape. And maybe a little bit more. I can even leave it, you know what? I can even take it outside the page imagery. So those who know this, I'm drawing the algorithm for removing inner constraints, express version. So all these lines that were unconscious are thrown on the paper. I cover them with I'm doing a conscious effort, and I draw them again consciously over the existing lines. And I take it outside and send it in a field in space. I'll continue with drawing the lines. So I have a few more lines. And of course, you can imagine the NeuroGraphic lines. So now at the same time, I'm observing my attitude, my mood, if there are any changes, what's happening with me. Okay, so the lines that were included in that catharsis are covered with my lines, my NeuroGraphic lines. And you can see we still have shapes, like my original shapes. You may have 2 or 3, I don't know, that's up to you. You could have a few more things that you would like to leave behind. And depending how much you feel about them, how strongly you feel about them, you can do that catharsis, outburst, emotional doodle in each of them, if they are painful, or maybe in one of them. Maybe they would be enough just to cover with the lines. And my next step is what we call in NeuroGraphica is diffusing in the field. This means that the shapes, you can see those lines that represented those events or ideas that I would like to leave behind and ask Janus to guard, not to let them pass in the next year. They're nice lines, but I would like to cover them again, similar to these lines. So they do not remind me of what I drew before. I'm changing my impression. You can add more lines, We're not restricted to more lines. Actually, the more lines, the better. And now I can even include part of Janus faces, like those lines, to make them part of those faces, part of the image. Like very nice neurographic shape of the beard, neurographic lines, and with some just existing lines. I think one more here. They have so many lines now. Okay, it seems like this covers all the lines, and I'm still dealing with the past, so I'm not going on the other area, the future. First I want to deal with so-called the past. So now our next step is, if you remember from NeuroGraphica, is we need to, all these intersections, we need to round all of them. And that's the next step is rounding the intersection. And at the same time, you can go over the lines twice. Okay, since I'm recording, this is mechanical work, it will take much time. I will pause my video, and you're welcome to do the same and just work on your own to round all the intersections, all the corners. As you can see here that I continue rounding, and I have many corners to deal with, intersections. If I want to get good results with this drawing. If I feel like sometimes I add more lines, okay, I want this field to be quite uniform. So if I see that this big emptiness, openness, I may just draw an extra line up, for example, like there. To make it uniform to those cells that were formed with lines, to make them about the same intensity. So I will continue rounding. As you can see, this is like the middle of my process, and I'm almost finishing. So I still have this area to cover. So I will pause my video again. So you may pay attention. So I decided to switch for wider marker because this is my style, but I don't want to leave those sharp corners, sharp lines, because it's very important that I deal with this conflict and issue. So I'll just use, and if I like drawing with a fine marker, but I decided to, that's a good idea if I use a wider marker, and I will cover the lines again, and all those nice lace that I created with my lines. Right now it's not a work of art, but it's a drawing that's supposed to help me. So I'm working on that. So no, leaving no sharp corners, no triangles. So if you can see the lines are very tight, just I make it cover, fill those area in. So nice, and so that's why at the beginning I suggest using a wider, thicker marker. Yeah, it works much better with it takes. I could do that with a finer marker, but it takes much longer. So more, I just go over the lines again, and I will continue. This, and I'll see what happens when I cover everything. Yes, see more, a few lines, and overall I think all done. I think I've probably run a couple lines in this direction. So now what my goal is on this part is just to eliminate those areas, the shapes, because they're still visible to me. as if they're still, I remember. So by eliminating them visibly, I'm hoping to change my impression. So so I don't see them again any longer. So checking for the last corners that I could miss. To make sure that nothing is sticking out. Like this, lines like this. Okay, I think it's like I'm kind of losing the shapes. I wonder what happens if I include the face here. Don't forget we will also include colors. As for me, this is as much experiment as for you. I haven't done this before, and as I'm drawing, I'm inventing and see what happens. This is the true drawing when you do not know what to expect. You have no idea, and like life, everything evolves, and based on your previous lines, previous thoughts and actions, so the new lines, new thoughts, new actions emerge. I think I'm done for now. I feel more comfortable with this part, with the past. So now I feel like I can leave it alone. I might use a finer marker with this guy. So make sure that there are no sharp corners left on this image as well. This is interesting. I changed the expression. There's a little bit of smile, and that changed the drawing. It's quite interesting. I'll probably leave it. It can be shade. Eyebrows. So let me see what happens with the next, with the other area. So supposedly we were able to deal with past for this year, and now what we can, the question is what happens in the future. I would like this opportunity. So what I think, it's possible that this opportunity, not exactly the same, but I can use this chance again in the next year, and very soon, probably in the beginning, right after this dividing. And I would like to, it's all my desires to use this opportunity again. So that's my wish and my for the new year. And it's right now. It will happen very soon. It's not going to be presented the same way, but I will need, but to use it the way it will be probably presented to me, it would require much more, I would say, willpower and desire to use it now. So this is the future. So that's exactly, so what I had regrets about not using something, I would like to use it now. And that power, I will use the resource. You see, this energy is still there. Even there were strong feelings of fear, strong feelings of regret, especially last year. This is a lot of stored energy. And now I can use this energy. And so I transformed it here from negative, like a feeling of regret, into something, but energy, you cannot destroy energy. You can only transform it into something else. So that energy that I assimilated, that I dealt with, that I tamed it, that I maybe changed its direction, I would like to use. It's a lot of energy. You can see how many lines I have here. I would like to use into this new chance that will be giving to me. Okay, so this chance, so this energy is how we would like it to be. I will see it. It's not round. I see it as a. So my idea how the shape I see it is like a shining star. And now it can be with sharp corners and triangles, and it's not a problem. So I will, and because it's an action, it's about action, it's about moving forward, and it's not about conflict. I resolve this conflict, so I would like to use the power of this conflict in my next. So that will be like completely two different drawings. One is like all nice and soft shapes, and this one will be all full of action. And if you think about action and the star, of course it's a combination of triangles. And let's see that I can do a sketch of it first. Just to make it so it. So it's shiny. A big star. Or it could be, it depends on your vision. What you would like you to be. It could be a star, it could be a circle, any shape you want. Or many new shapes. For me, it's like it's one right now, and that if I accomplish this, everything, it will take care of everything else. So let's so now I have it draw, and I can use my wow, and I can feel how my mood changed from something not that was a little bit gloomy here, and now as soon as I drew this active shape, I changed completely. So I will use this draw my star. And also connect it to the background. So here, with the lines of Janus here, is looking in the future. So when I mentioned about using energy from feelings that we assimilated and converted into something else, we use this energy to nourish what we want in the future. Because our future is built on what we do in the past. So our actions and thoughts today will make our future. And that's based on what was in the past. So I'll take this. First I do the final marker. So this energy, and I connect, and I draw, and give it to the star. Or any other figure that you are drawing. That was my example. So I'll take these lines, and I draw them. To give more energy to the star. So you can also use, of course, our Janus, who's looking in the future. And I will use these lines as well. So, like, for example, this part. So our Janus who looks in the past is smiling, and this part looking in the future. And I also would like to smile. Even more. Okay. A big smile in the eyes, and I can feel it. So interesting that my hands started moving much faster in this area. There was more contemplative thinking, a little bit hesitant. And here it's just gliding. So I think maybe I can use stronger lines now that I feel more sure of myself. Just connect these lines. And draw them from the past, taking energy from these feelings that we're dealing with. And the first part of our class today, and I give this energy to the star, my new ideas, my new actions, my new life. You can rotate the drawing as well, But for me, so since I want to keep it in the same position relative to this camera, I don't want to move it, disturb it. So to make sure that you draw lines from this, in this direction, from the past, you're drawing energy, and to the future. If you didn't draw the face of Janus, it's okay. So that's why I still want to retain this image, the two faces. So that's why I'm not drawing them through the image. Also, if you want to know what to do with the lines, imagine that they continue. That will not stop with this event, this opportunity. They will go forward. So the line and the future is there. The imaginary future is there. So we'll just, so nothing is stopping here. That's just you can extend them and take them forward in time. So I'll draw the lines, continue drawing the lines, and I will pause my video. As you can see now, almost my lines are almost finished. I still have a little bit more to do. As you can see, a few corners are not finished. So as you can see now, I almost finished my drawing. There's a few more corners left. So I missed a few corners, rounding. But unlike this side I wasn't so scrupulous around rounding everything, because this side represents no conflict. So and I rounded the lines, but not everything, not every. There's some intersections left. They are left. I may finish this rounding a little bit later. I get more nicer. And also, as you can see, I prepared pencils, coloring pencils that we're going. And now our next step is to apply colors. And color in NeuroGraphica is used for unifying the drawing and creating maybe more strength, more power, emphasis. As in, we can use the power of the energy of colors to add extra strength to our drawing. Or you're welcome to leave it black and white. So it's up to you. In this case, I will apply more colors. So what I would use for the left side, the past, more like blue, dark green, violet colors. We use the the idea behind the energy of the five-element theory. And the blue color, dark blue, especially dark blue and black, associated with water. And water, if we want to, it's like let it flow with the water. If we want something to forget, to let it go, we can use the blue color and to emphasize this idea of letting go. So most of it on this side, I would like, yes, I used energy and I would like let it go. I don't want any information from here. The idea irritates. And I have, of course, blue colors, plenty of blue colors. Bluish, a little bit greenish, cold. Because blue element, green is the color of wood and related. You may not be able to see in my screen because the colors changes and everything is, it's a light. But believe me, there's a greenish bluish. And mostly I'm going to apply blue color on this part of the drawing. Predominantly dark blue, but it's not to make it overpowering. So of course I use my artistic sense and ideas and what colors to apply. So I will not apply all the colors full strength. I'll just indicate colors for now at first and see whether I like them. Different shades of blue, different shades of green and purple. So this area will be very dark, and I said I would like it to, well, if I can disappear from my memory, that's great. I took all the energy, and now it'd be nice if I do not remember and do not return and will not think about those feeling of regret and as something that I couldn't use it and missed opportunities. Again, that's what appears to me that now that I missed them. This color this is a very different on this side. I would probably, I like green. Green, of course, the color of growth, of warmth, of spring, of beginning. And it's very nice because blue is a color of water. Water element supports growth, supports and nourishes wood. Since I like a color purple. So you can see I do not color all these individual cells, compartments. I just apply colors on the entire area. So what colors, of course, a star. It's one of the colors that I like, and I would like for the star of action and passion and in red. But also I would like to use the color of yellow. Again, it's a color of light, but also color of consciousness, awareness. I would like to do that more in my life, so I will apply it. If you have gold, you can apply gold. So what I would like to be careful if we trust the theory of the 5 elements. Green supports water. Oh, sorry. A green supports fire, and fire supports earth. That's the element. But right now I will probably this so as much yellow as I want. Maybe orangey. At the beginning I just apply colors and test the colors and see how much I like it, and only after that I apply full strength. Purple is one of the few. I have very nice pink colors here as well. Nice warm color, not as bright as and strong as red, but also from the same, so conveys the same idea, but it's soft. A bit brighter. We have another orange which is a little bit brighter. Brighter shade. It's almost like fire. Like a flame. More activity, more action. So this way I will continue applying colors and feel. Let's see how based on my feelings adjust the coloring. So when I will finish applying colors, I will still have a lot to do when I start thinking about the color application, refining. Making it as bright as I feel like overlapping colors, which is totally fine. And I like overlapping colors. And of course, with how we complete NeuroGraphica drawing, I know that the main element, don't have to guess, but I will emphasize it right now. It's of course the star, as a star of opportunities, of new beginning. So I can make it even much stronger right now. So I will pause the recording right now, and I will continue drawing on my own, and then I can pause the video and finish your drawing and take as much time as you need. This is an important stage, and feel your way how you, as a drawing it, the process is now how you feel about your drawing. And this is the main criteria for you, for how you feel about the drawing. It may take longer than one day. So it's totally okay. You can also, and then decide whether you would like to include something or not. So this process will probably take time, especially a complicated drawing and powerful drawing with the idea of the drawing as this